See much to talk about out of this game today. A lot of positives, a few question marks as well, I suspect. But let's talk about the positives. And obviously, Cyril, the Galway people would have gone up the road from Limerick today after that, buzzing after it, because as Ger Canning said in the commentary, Galway really buried Tip today.
Yeah, like whatever about winning, you couldn't see them win by 16 points.
Yeah.
But it was a great, Michael, it was a great team display. From the management getting the team right going out, like Dahi Burke came in full back. Garrett McInerney, something like his father, Jerry, he was brilliant centre back. All the other backs around him played well. David Burke led the team centre field. Joe Cannon led the attack, leader of the attack. They got fantastic scores, closed down Tip early on, and like Winford broke early on, set the tempo. And once the backs were strong, you're nearly always going to score enough for the Galway forwards. And like remember now, Conor Cooney, you know, a few other lads, Johnny Glynn, these are missing. It's going to be great training now. Okay, they have to hold, say, keep their feet on the ground, but it's a great lift. Sure. For Galway, because I was saying to the boys, if Galway lost, I think to take a lot out of them. Now I know to take a bit out of Tip, but not as much. They're still Munster and All-Ireland champions. They're playing fairly soon, but it's a big lift for Galway going into the championship. Keep their feet on the ground, and they could have a great summer.
That's a fair point, but Liam, at the same time, Michael Ryan was saying in one of the interviews after the match today that that is the worst game that Tip have played under his watch. Now, in fairness to him, they've played a couple of great games under his watch in the last year or so. But nonetheless, as Cyril said, we didn't expect that kind of a defeat.
No, Michael and his team will be very disappointed tonight. I mean, I guess if you take their 5 championship performances last year and the 7 league performances to date, there's nothing would have said that Tipperary would be so flat today. You couldn't have seen that coming. They scored 14 points. They only got 5 points in the first half. They've averaged 28 points in every league game up to the final. So they scored 12 goals in the last 3 matches. They got no goal today. They lost all of the individual battles. I would say for the 6 forwards, you know, the score was Galway 6, Tipperary 0. Every one of the backs were on top. So from Galway's perspective, they'll be very happy. But you know, from Mick Ryan, he's got, you know, they did state that they wanted to win the league, so they'll be extremely disappointed. But you know, they have 4 weeks to regroup, and you know, it probably gives everyone hope. I mean, Tip would probably be seen as being the team to beat. Galway clearly showed today that this is far from a one-horse race come the summer. You know.
Sure. Henry, neutral view.
Yeah, well, I think from both sides, you know, I would take Cyril's point. I think Galway had a lot more to win. I think there was probably more pressure on Galway this week because we're all used to Galway being nearly there, nearly winning trophies. And there was a lot of talk this week, so they had to go out and win a trophy. And I think Michael Ryan didn't mention the VT. I heard it earlier on. The word he used was we're being talked up. And they have been talked up all this league. We spoke about the panel, the strength and depth of their panel. But today, they were very flat. And I suppose it went back to their old days. They were cleaned out of it in the half-back line, half-forward line, and the middle third as well. Just that whole area, Galway just swallowed them up. Now, Galway had their homework done, so I think Galway, you could see it. And I will say, the match last weekend against Wexford put it up to Tipperary for 60 minutes. It was a tough game. It was only 7 days ago. And they scored 5-17 from play last week. Everyone was talking about Tipperary. So mentally, and all these games, when you get to the finals, it's about a mental game. And I think Galway were in a mentally stronger place this week, and you could see that by the level of performance. Overall, though, Michael, it was a poor game because Tip did not show up. It's as simple as that. But from a Galway point of view, from yourself and Cyril, you're happy Galway men tonight.
Well, question is, they're going to be happy in September, so that's another story, I suppose.
Well, I honestly believe we will. I really think this team has come of age. They're together 6 or 7 years, strength and condition. They're as tuned up as they can. Like Micheál Dunn and Noel Larkin and Franny Ford have done a lovely job, gone in very quiet, as Henry said. It's theirs for there to win. If they get their game right, they have the pieces. I think the jigsaw's coming together. I really believe they can go the whole way.
One thing that impressed you, Liam, about the Galway performance today, what you described as the Galway defiance during the match as well, as a part of, I suppose, what Cyril is saying is they're building a bit of character, if you like.
Yeah, no, I thought, like, here's a clip from the first 5 minutes. You know, I just thought they laid down a marker very, very early on. They brought that element of a defiance to say, look, it's going to be different today. And you see Conor Whelan there, Cathal Barrett generally coming out with that ball. You'd expect that ball to be delivered up, you know. And like on numerous occasions, you know, I probably have questioned Galway in terms of the spine of their defence over the years. So number 3 and number 6, you know, they really have to tie down those positions. And like Dahi Burke, some of his feeling today was just a top drawer. Here's a guy, Aidan Hart, you know, got 2 points of his own. But you know, back in August, Paddy Maher was pushing Joe Canning out over the side. You see Joe's reaction there. Aidan Hart just ploughed into him and won the line ball. And here, you know, to me, Garrod McInerney had his best game in a Galway jersey today. I thought he was outstanding all through. He won great ball. He drove forward and he gave them a real platform. And I thought their half back line. But this guy, you know, he got 5 points. But here's a real example of the work ethic that I think Micheál Dunn is looking to get into this team, because we never ever question Galway and their ability or their talent, but we have questioned their work rate. And you see Micheál here, you know, Conor Whelan turned it over, won the free, and he said, yes, that's the way I want my forwards to play. So I just felt today Galway were different. Question mark is, can they do it 5 times during the summer? Because I think if they replicate what they've done today, they're serious All-Ireland contenders.
And I suppose one of the things about it from a Galway perspective is they will enjoy this occasion. They'll enjoy tonight, obviously, and so on. But they'll have to get back to reality fairly quickly again. And Henry, you've been pointing out one or two things that you felt wasn't quite right with Galway today, as good as it looked.
Yeah, no, as we've all said, Galway dominated the game from start to finish. But in the first half, they were only 5 points ahead because they were very wasteful. As you can see, Conor Whelan's inside. They drove 11 wides in the first half, saying, give me the ball, get the ball in front of me. Now, they did in this instance get the ball into Jason Flynn, and it was a goal chance. But what will show is that in the first half, they weren't taking these chances. The direct line was straight. He was in behind Mickey Carl. He should have went straight for goal. As the graphic shows, he goes away from goals. Still a good save by Darren Gleeson. Half-time came. This is a minute after half-time. Mickey Carl should have had this ball. This was Tipperary all day, losing the ball. But watch Jason Flynn here. Again, he could have easily put it over the bar. But no, this time, after half-time, I think he's told, go direct for the goal. Brilliant finish, though. High up in the air. No one was going to block it. And again, Cathal Mannion got the ball. David Burke in the first half and Cathal Mannion a lot of wides, driving him for goal. I'm not going for a shooting chance. I'm putting the ball into a man in a better position. Jason Flynn gets the ball here. He still has an awful lot of work to do. I think this showcased how bad Tip were today. He walked past Mickey Carl, walked past James Barry. But again, I think Tip's vision, David Burke, again, super hurling. But look, in the first half, driving it wide, the vision to pick that over, Pádraig Maher's head, Cathal Mannion in, absolutely brilliant finish. And, you know, I think Micheál Donoghue's done a great job since he went in. And I think at half-time, they would have said, right, lads, we're driving balls. Conor Whelan was there. Put the ball in front of us. We have this full back line in trouble. And Tip's 2 cornerbacks were cleaned out of it today. They couldn't live with Jason Flynn and Conor Whelan, who ended up with 5 points and 2-1 each. So I think they would have learned from that.
Sure.
And I think that has been testament to Galway all year. I think they were caught by Wexford in the first game of this championship, in the league, and they were 10 points down against Waterford in Salt Hill. And I think it's been a testament to character, and that's what Micheál Donoghue is trying to build. And I think today they showcased that again.
Yeah, they did a lot of that, Cyril, but to quote the old cliche, scores win matches. And they had no bother getting those today.
Oh, yeah, some of the scores, Michael, were top class. Their skill, their touch, their vision, their 20 yards passes. David Burke gets on the ball here, and he flicks it back here to Pádraig Mannion. Mannion flicks it across to Aidan Hart. Hart is second point over the bar. Like, this is brilliant to see. This is top class hurling. Nothing Tip can do about that. Here again, Cathal Mannion again, like, gets a lovely ball here. Drives it down the wing here to Young Whelan, who had a great game. He got 5 from play. Goes on to his right. He thinks he's going to his right, and he kind of slips going back on his left. Now, if this goes wide, the ball given out to him, but he's on form, bangs over the bar. Again, a fantastic score. And here, look at this is the Prince of Hurlers. He was King Henry once. This is King Joe. Look at this line ball in. He calls David Burke, and Burke glides through. This guy, David Burke, is probably the top midfielder in the country. It's a fantastic score, like. And again, the last ball. Look at Hart up here to Burke. Burke across to young Tomas Monaghan coming through, bang over the bar. On that kind of form, as Henry says, Galway are kind of unstoppable. Now, all they have to do is build on that, get the confidence going, and drive on from there. But they'd want to be very careful, because down the road, I think it's in Tullamore, they play Dublin, who have been kind of gauging over the last few weeks, and a few weeks more, on one game only. There's a big game in them, but if Galway can keep their feet in the ground, which I firmly believe they will do, I think they'll have a great summer.
The other thing about it is, look, we have to put this in perspective as well. We know Tipperary are a very good team, and they are, of course, the All-Ireland champions. You know, so I think that will be kind of put on the table. But having said that, what was wrong with them today? What was the problem? I mean, you know, you can have a bad day at the office, but...
Well, I think there's a bit of both. I think Galway were very good, and there's a few key players for Tipperary. Pádraig Maher, Ronan Maher and John McGrath for me. And you can see what Galway did in Micheál Donoghue. We've showcased, there's Pádraig Maher wing back. He's back in his nearly full back line. Cathal Mannion, who's the smallest of the half forward line. Niall Burke and Joe Cooney are out on top, and Ronan Maher. So Pádraig Maher's not going to catch it, Ronan Maher's not going to catch it. John McGrath had a quiet game today. Adrian Toohey was on and stuck to him. He was taking the free-taking duties. He was an off day today. He drove 3 wides in the first half, who could have had a level in the first half. So from there, Tip were always in trouble after those 3 players.
Here, I see this ball here, like, you know, Mickey Carl tips it across to Ronan Maher. It beats him, a bad pass. Joe Cannon, no better man, bang over the bar. It just shows that they're off, because that pass should have gone to hand and been vented out the field. These things are happening all day.
But again, you know, when you bring it back, the 50-50 duels, all of them are being won by Galway. They just showed a massive appetite today. And even when Tip, you know, James Barry knocks it down, Pádraig Maher comes out with the ball. You know, I think I counted 10 balls that went into the inside line in the first half. I think Tip won one of them. You know, and here you are again, you know, Pádraig Pádraig Mannion, he's back. As soon as that ball goes in, he's back. He's flashing the ball up. And then contrast that to the other end of the field. You know, Conor Cooney able to win his own ball out in front and gets one of his 5 points. So, you know, Tip just were not at the pitch of it today. And look, I suppose it's a huge lesson for them, and I think that it's a lesson that they'll need to learn from quickly.
But I think it just showcased, we showed Conor Whelan going 20 yards to track down Seamus Kennedy. Tip man, Pádraig Mannion, is standing his own. Galway just had that time. And Tip just looked tired today. I don't know whether it was their mental attitude or their legs, but something, and Michael Ryan again references, they've had 8 tough games. Galway didn't have as many tough games during the league, and they just seemed a bit fresher today.
And I would say the big thing for Tip as well is, you know, I think Bonner Maher came back in today. You know,
Yes.
getting Bonner Maher back in at 11 and getting Seamus Callan into the edge of the square, I think will make a significant difference, and I'd expect that's where they'll be in 4 weeks' time.
But Michael, if Galway can keep their defence tight like they did today, in Galway we'd always feel we have enough forwards, no matter what 6 to play up front, they'll nearly score enough. It's the other end, and today they were majestic. And if that 6 can cling it onto it all year, you know, the sky's the limit.
Give them the cup, I'd say.
And these are all the wonderful ifs, aren't they? We'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the programme, but it is time for us to take a short break here on Alliance League Sunday. Now, still to come on the show, today's Camogie League final between Cork and Kilkenny, and the 2017 quest for the Liam McCarthy Cup. We will be getting the views of the panel.